Monday's F1 news features Martin Brundle airing a Red Bull theory and Fernando Alonso launching an investigation of the McLaren F1 2024 car. Williams have opened negotiations with Red Bull over the signing of Liam Lawson, on a loan deal until the end of the F1 2024 season. Are set to replace Logan Sargeant after a miserable weekend at the Dutch Grand Prix, where the US star was ruled out of qualifying after crashing heavily in final practice. Mercedes have been persistently linked with an ambitious move for Verstappen, with Wolff commenting that he would love to have the reigning three-time world champion in one of his cars. With Verstappen contracted with Red Bull until the end of the 2028 season, however, Mercedes appear to have ended their interest in the Dutchman for the near future. Toto Wolff believes two factors contributed to Mercedes' poor performance at the Dutch Grand Prix, with the team left with a shortage of data to inform setup decisions at Zandvoort. Having won 3 of the 4 races leading into the F1 2024 summer break, Mercedes had been hoping to build on their recent form as the season resumed in the Netherlands. Daniel Ricciardo admits he needs to work harder to extract the performance these days, but insists that he is not losing it, with Red Bull reserve Liam Lawson now destined for a drive in F1 2025, either with Red Bull or out on loan. The pressure is on for Ricciardo to secure his Formula One future, with his seat the only Red Bull run seat not yet spoken for looking ahead to next season. Helmut Marko has revealed that Red Bull has something in the works to respond to the growing threat posed by McLaren, admitting Max Verstappen's title is at risk in F1 2024. After a dominant start to the F1 2024 season, Red Bull has struggled over recent months, with Verstappen limited to just 3 victories in the last 10 races. The Audi F1 team has announced another key hire ahead of their Formula One arrival in F1 2026, with Mattia Binotto describing the new signing as another important piece of the puzzle. Audi, who will take over the existing Sauber team in time for F1's major regulation changes in 2026, are currently stepping up plans for their long-awaited entry, with rumors of an Andrea Kimi Antonelli mid-season Williams move gathering fresh momentum. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has confirmed that the teenager will debut with Mercedes in FP1 at the Italian Grand Prix. Antonelli, 18, is currently navigating his first Formula 2 campaign, picking up 2 race wins so far, as he bids to secure a Mercedes F1 2025 seat, with Lewis Hamilton heading for Ferrari. But could he join the grid before then with Williams? Williams must have reached the conclusion that Logan Sargeant cannot see out the F1 2024 campaign, with Red Bull and Mercedes each offering a replacement option. This is the second and final season for Sargeant as a Williams driver, with Carlos Sainz signed to take his place from F1 2025, but the team suffered a further hit after Sargeant crashed his upgraded Williams heavily during the final practice session at the Dutch Grand Prix. Sargeant was unhurt, but missed qualifying due to the repairs required. Sergio Perez was left with mixed feelings in the wake of the Dutch Grand Prix, after coming home 6th to his teammate's 2nd, by over 20 seconds. The bad news though is that with McLaren closing the gap in the constructors, Red Bull needs some big scores to shut down the threat the Papaya team boast, and that means Perez needs to start finishing on the podium again. Lewis Hamilton was left questioning what could have been after a recovery drive to P8 in the Dutch Grand Prix, with the 7-time world champion suggesting that a top 5 result would have been possible had he had a better qualifying, while George Russell admitted his surprise at Mercedes' drop-off in pace. Charles Leclerc could not hide his surprise after finishing the Dutch Grand Prix on the podium in 3rd place, having started from 6th on the grid on what has been a challenging weekend for Ferrari. Both Leclerc and teammate Carlos Sainz had played down the team's prospects following difficult days on Friday and Saturday, with Leclerc especially disappointed to be 1 second away from pole position in qualifying. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has confirmed that protégé Kimi Antonelli will make his Formula One weekend debut on home soil at the upcoming Italian Grand Prix, with the youngster being handed a practice run. Formula 2 racer Antonelli, who turned 18 on Sunday, has been widely tipped to replace Lewis Hamilton as George Russell's teammate from the 2025 campaign, though Mercedes are yet to formally announce their plans. Red Bull boss Christian Horner says his team knows it has an issue and needs to improve to fend off the McLaren threat. The reigning world champions hold a commanding lead of 70 and 30 points in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships respectively. However, the Milton Keynes squad is now without a win in 5 rounds, and Max Verstappen has admitted its form is alarming after McLaren's Lando Norris won the Dutch Grand Prix by over 20 seconds. Speaking in the post-race press conference at Zandvoort, Verstappen said, "This weekend was just a bad weekend in general. So we need to understand that. But the last few races already, they haven't really been fantastic. So that, in a sense, was already a bit alarming. But we know that we don't need to panic. We are just trying to improve the situation. And that's what we are working on. But F1 is very complicated." Verstappen's order not to panic was repeated by Horner, who hailed McLaren's resurgence and admitted his team needs to improve. He said, "Based on their performance, if it was like that at the next 9 races, yes, It would be very, very difficult. But it's the fourth time this year, only the fourth time, that Max's points lead had reduced. It's only Lando's second win, but we know we have to find performance. So we were 78 points, now we're 70 ahead. We want to make sure that we extend the lead, not see it continuously diminish. I think Verstappen drove a very calm conservative race to ensure a second place. He probably had more pace, but not point in using it. What remains to be seen is if others are going to take points from Norris. The reason that despite some struggling performances and mistakes that Verstappen hasn't had his lead reduced significantly previously is because it's been 5 other drivers taking points from him. As Horner says, this is only Norris's second win. Horner also explained that McLaren's improvement, coupled with his team's dip in form, showed the nature of Formula One and how quickly the tables can turn. He added, well, it just shows that things have moved very quickly. I mean, we were winning races by 20, 25 seconds and Stefano Domenicali was asking us to slow down in the first 5 races. Well, the fact that Norris only took points out of the lead twice has more to do with bad luck on his side than of RBR getting unlucky. It's obvious that McLaren has an advantage now because they have the luxury to sit back and overtake the RBR at any moment like we saw this weekend. That's not a show of weakness but of strength, so if you don't know what the issue is with your car, it's time to start panicking.